All
Thank
right,
you.
Yashikaya. Again, as was said, just in case you didn't catch it, this is the last of the OU Zoom shiur. And Baruch Hashem, everything is going back to the OU Center. Check out, if you get the Torah tidbits, you can get it online. You can check out on the website, and you'll see exactly which shiur are going on when, by whom, at the OU Center. Again, as a few people who asked me mentioned, scheduling has changed. I traditionally always taught on Wednesdays. That was my only open morning, and that's the way things rearranged. Now that we're getting everybody getting back together, Wednesdays is not working. So I will not be back in the center for the moment, but Emerz Hashem will something I'm sure we will figure out, and it'll all get back together. So a huge extra credit to everybody who has always joined, and then please really just go to the website. And you'll see how, if you're assuming you're in Eretz Yisrael, you're going to walk into the center, and they sure and there are posted. All the shurim there are also recorded, but I spoke that was recorded. So if you check out the OU website, all the shurim that you will see given, if you don't happen to be in Yerushalayim or can't get to the OU Center at that time, you can go to the website. You'll find there's a lot of wonderful people giving shurim there. Yasher Klayach. Again, the exclusive of this learning should be for everybody, all those who need to get home safely, who to stay safe. Baruch should watch over them and guard over them. The exclusive Limud Torah should take care of everybody who needs a Yeshua, and Yashakayach to the OU for hosting and taking care of all these Zoom shiurim this whole time. So our last in the series, we've been doing davening for a while. So I just want to end with one important concept, and that is, as we know, we daven and we daven and we daven and we daven. And then everybody knows, sometimes Hashem says no. No is also an answer. Hashem always answers your tefillot, but sometimes the answer is no, right? We understand the fact that we're just human beings, and that, why do we think we should be able to understand everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, right? Why would we think that? We're merely five senses. We don't see everything. And Asur Tamim Palo, Kol Derech Mishpat, we see the miraculous survival of the Jewish people. There's clearly a plan. And when there's details that don't seem to make sense, so that's us, and it doesn't seem to make sense. And we discussed earlier the concept of Mazel Elyon and Mazel Tachton, a very important concept. There are certain things in our lives that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into place and are unchangeable. It's our job. It's just what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to deal with. So just deal with it and say thank you, and you'll understand it in 120 years when you get to Shamayim. And other things are changeable, and we never know which is which. So we just stop in and we ask to change things that we think we would be better off if we would have A, B, or C. But I just want to go with one more concept. I want to give you a very famous mashal, which has stood me in good stead and has helped thousands. It is not mine at all. I originally saw the name of Rav Hutner, but then after some further research, I discovered that this actually was a mashal used by Rav Elchanan Wasserman Zatzal in his last shmut to his Talmidim, as the Nazis were just, the circling in, and everyone realized the end was basically imminent, and they were trapped, and there was no way out. And he was giving everybody CHIZUK, and he gave the following mashal, which is a great mashal to help us deal with collectively as OUisrael, and personally when we daven, and Kadosh Baruch Hu just seems to be saying no. His muscles like this. I mean, well, I'll update a little bit, but the concept is this. And the power of the muscle is that the details work really well. It explains a lot of things. That's why it's a brilliant muscle. Let's take, you have a guy who grows up in the big city. And every morning he leaves his apartment and he goes next door to the supermarket and he buys himself a bagel because he had bagel for breakfast. He's never left the city his whole life. He doesn't know anything about what he lives in the city. He does the job. He works at home, and supermarket. He can buy bagels. And one day he says, I got to get out of here. Like, I've never seen anything but the buildings and concrete. I should really go see what's going on. Like, out of the city. And he takes the drive out. We're going to use our imagination. He comes. He sees a beautiful field. He says, "Wow, look at this beautiful field. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's green. It's pretty." And he stops to look at it and says, "Wow, we could build apartment buildings here. We could build a shopping center here. We can do all sorts of stuff here." And he sees a guy come out with a really strange contraption that he's never seen before, some kind of like a machine with like knives on it, and he's riding up and down the field, ripping it up into mud. And the guy says, that's ridiculous. Why would anybody do that? Now look, now it's just a muddy field. It's useless. What a terrible guy. And then he watches and he sees the guy's walking up and down the field. He has a bowl with some stuff, and he's dropping things into the mud. And he goes over, he sticks his hand into the bowl, and there's these little funny things, and he tastes it and sees what it is, and like, this is edible. And he says, this guy's a horrible person. He's throwing food into mud. What lunatic throws food into mud? And if he would walk out now, he'd say, I just saw the most horrible thing. This a horrible guy who took what was really a nice piece of beautiful land and ripped it into mud and threw food in the mud. Like, that's terrible. But he decides to wait to see. And we're going to use our imagination. He waits and he sees stuff growing out. And he sees pretty, like, brown and white, like, flowers coming up. They stand tall and straight. And now he looks and says, wow, this is beautiful. This is like some golden color and brown. And he says, oh, now I got it. I was so stupid. See, I thought this guy was the bad guy. Because, see, I thought he was like ripping up a beautiful field and turning it into mud and then throwing food into the mud. And that's horrible. But I was wrong. You know what he was doing? He was growing pretty yellow brown flowers. That's what he was doing. And now this makes sense and everything is great. And as just as about to leave, he sees a guy come and like cut all the flowers down. And he says, I wonder why he's doing that. Maybe he's going to put them in a vase and take them to people in the hospital, or maybe take them to an old age home. I guess that's what he's going to do. But then that's not what the guy does. The guy takes these pretty nice flowers and starts grinding them up into a powder. And he says to himself, why would you do that? Why would anybody do that? And his conclusion right now is, this guy is more evil than I thought in the first place. First, I thought he was evil because he's ripping up a field and throwing food in the mud. Okay, so he's nuts. But now he's just evil because he spent the time to grow a beautiful flower and then grinds it into a useless powder. That's sick. That's just really evil sick. And I got to get away from this guy. And he watches the guy take the powder and he puts it into a bowl and he pours water in and putting stuff in and mixing it around. And he said, what's he doing? And he walks over and he sticks his hand in that bowl and he picks up some of the goop, right? And he tastes it. And he says, oh, that's pretty good. So what do you call this stuff? The guy looks at him like he's nuts. And he said, this is called dough. He said, oh, I never saw this before in my life. This is really interesting. That's pretty good. And now he says, oh, I was wrong the whole time. First, I said he was a bad guy because he's ruining a beautiful piece of land. I was wrong. Then I thought, oh, he's a good guy. He grows pretty flowers. But that's not true. That wasn't what he was doing. Then I thought he was super evil because he destroyed pretty flowers. And that wasn't what he was doing either. He was making yummy dough. Now I understand completely. I misread the whole thing. He gets back into his car, and he's about to leave, and he sees this man take that dough, roll it into like a ball, open up some box. There's a big fire burning in this box, and he throws the dough into the fire. And he says, what'd you do that for? Why would you do that? And now he's completely perplexed. This guy is like more evil than you could think of. You go through that whole process of making this yummy dough, and in the end, you just burn it to a crisp. That's sicker than he ever thought. And now nothing makes sense now. And he says, I got to get out of here. And right before he leaves, the man opens the box and takes out a bagel. And he says, hey, that's a bagel. And he said, yeah, what'd you think it was? He said, I don't know. Like, who are you, man? Like, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm a farmer, and I was growing flour in order to bake bagels. What'd you think? And he said, I don't know. I never saw this before in my whole life. That was like really interesting. And now he looks back and he realized he never understood anything. What he thought was good was not good. Oh, he grows pretty flowers. You're an idiot. He wasn't growing pretty flowers. That's sweet. Wait, stupid, right? Well, what a bad guy. He's grinding flowers into useless powder. What are you talking about? He's making flour. What are you saying? Right? Oh, he's a guy who makes yummy dough. No one's making yummy dough. What are you talking about? He's evil. You don't know what you're saying. Now that the bagel comes out of the oven, now everything makes sense. He wasn't growing pretty flowers. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a guy who's making bagels, and that's how you make bagels. But how was he to know? Well, how was I to know, man? I don't know. I never saw anything. I just go to the supermarket and buy bagels. How was I supposed to know where bagels come from? Okay, I'm not mad at you. You didn't know where bagels come from, but you misread the whole thing. That is us, my friend. Kadosh Baruch Hu is a 6,000-year plan of Jewish history, which we are getting closer to the end of. When 57, 84, we're getting towards the end, everybody, right? 6,000 years of Jewish history. We have not yet seen the bagel come out of the oven. We haven't seen the end. When Mashiach comes, then it'll all put together. We don't know the system. We're like that guy. We don't know Hashem's system. We don't know the calculations. We don't know what we're looking at. So we look at things and say, "Oh, Coach Barker was so nice. Oh, look at that happened. I won the lottery. Oh, look, oh, look at that. So amazing. That's great." We don't even know. Because, oh, that was terrible. Why did Hashem do that? That's horrible. That's so not nice. That's so not fair. That's what? And a Coach Baruch was like that guy said, what's your problem? What is your problem? But like a bunch of noise. You know what I'm doing? It looks terrible. You know what I'm doing? No, actually, I don't. Why are you grinding that pretty yellow flour into useless powder? What are you talking about? What pretty yellow flour into what useless powder? This is wheat, man. And this is flour to bake bread. Like, what are you blabbering? That's us. We're that guy. We have no idea of the system. We don't know what's good, and we don't know what's bad. And just like that guy, what he thought was good. Oh, look, that man growing pretty brown flowers. You're a dope. It's not what he's doing, right? Or what he thought was bad. Oh, look, he's ripping up a beautiful piece of ground. He's plowing. You're a lunatic, right? What he thought was bad wasn't bad. What he thought was good wasn't even good. He misread the whole show. Every step of the way, every decision he made about that man was completely off kilter because he didn't know what was going on. We are standing next to him and saying, you sound like an idiot. You know that. You have no idea what you're talking about. This guy's a farmer. That's called plowing. That's called wheat. That's called grinding. What are you're making? You're just making noise, and you don't know what you're saying. That's us. We make decisions all along the way in our life. That was fair. That wasn't fair. That was beautiful. That was terrible. That stinks. That's great. We don't know what we're looking at. We don't know what we're looking at. In our individual lives, 120 years, we get to Shemayim, we look back at our life, and, as they always say, when you get up to Shemayim, you can ask a Kadosh Baruch Hu all your questions. The problem is you're not even going to remember what the questions were. You're not going to remember what didn't make sense to say, I'm going to ask God when I get there, boy. You're going to get there and say, yeah, what was your question? I don't remember. It's all going to make like, oh, wow, who would have known? And when Mashiach comes, we'll look back at 6,000 years of world history and it'll all play together and put out together. And all the things that we were freaking out about will make sense. All the things we were so happy about, well, we'll see in a much different perspective. That's what we need to have in our heads. Daven and daven and daven and daven. And we're so sure we're davening for something that it just makes so much sense. And Akash Baruch Hu says no. All right? Akash Baruch Hu says no. We don't have the ability to understand it because we don't know the system. And we haven't seen the bagel come out of the oven. We haven't seen the end of the process yet. Sometimes in our lives we do, right? All the storybooks, 50 years later you realize because you ended up having to go there, so you met the person there who 40 years later ended up being the one who saved you and da-da-da, had it not been, and it's a cheesy video and you cry and it's an amazing story flying around the internet. Sometimes. That's right. Sometimes that happens. And who knows if that's really the end of the story? Who knows if in 120 years you'll get to Shemayim and you'll look at that story that made you cry because you thought it was amazing, and that was actually half the story. And you don't even appreciate fully what was going on because your brother's laughing his head off as it is. Saying everyone's so impressed. You don't even know the whole story. You don't know the backdrop, and you don't know the end of it, and everyone was freaking out about this little blip out of 6,000 years of world history. And all that, by the way, is in our davening. Let me, for the people that just joined, to remember this is our last OU Zoom shir. All the shurim are, well, I mean, should never say Baruch Hashem, they're stopping. But all the shurim are Baruch Hashem going back to the OU Center. Check the website and you'll see who is teaching what and when. And they are all recorded if you can't get there because you're either in Yerushalayim or you're very far away from Yerushalayim. They're all recorded all online. Listen to a brutal shot I discovered. Shema Kolenu Hashem Elokeinu. This is the one tefillah where everybody sort of like wakes up because this is where we can add our own personal requests. Shema Kolenu Hashem Elokeinu. Listen to our voice, right? Why do we say Shema Kolenu, right? Listen to our voice. We don't say listen to our words because we know our words we're not articulate. If we're saying the Hebrew that we don't know what we mean, so the words really may not make any sense. And even if we're talking in English, we may not get the words out right, but you can tell from someone's voice how sincere they are. Shema Kolenu, Hashem, listen to our voice. Hashem Elokeinu, right? Elohim who controls everything. Listen to the sound of our voice. We're sincere. We're clearly agitated. This is very important to us. Have mercy on us. Right? Accept our tefillos, right? With rachamim and ratzon. What do you mean accept our tefillos with rachamim? Even if we're not really deserving, right? So, kabel barachamim, accept our tefillos with rachamim if we don't really deserve it based on the letter of the law. Uver ratzon, but with favor, if we are deserving, then accept it with favor because we are deserving it. We don't want to be given something by mercy if we deserve it. Because you listen to Hashem our tefillos. Do not turn us away empty-handed. Rekam. From you, our King. Rekam, empty-handed. Don't turn us away empty-handed. Right? And then we add in all our tefillos, and we say, you listen to everybody. What do you mean don't turn us away empty-handed? We just said, listen to our voice and accept our tefillos. Accept with rachamim if we don't deserve, accept with ratzon if we do deserve. We said accept our tefillos. So that's what we're asking, accept our tefillos. So don't turn us away empty-handed. Listen to a Peledic Pshat. It's in my siddur, but listen to a Peledic Pshat. We accept the fact that sometimes the correct answer is no. And we don't know what we're watching. We're that city guy is saying, oh my God, she's destroying a pretty brown flower. Someone stop it. It's wheat. He's grinding flour. Relax. He whiz. We don't know what we're seeing. So we're getting upset. We need this. We got to have that. We can't have this. This is terrible. Because Shabbat is going to answer us the proper way. And sometimes the answers are going to be no. But no. If Shabbat was saying, someday you'll thank me for this, the answer is no. But even if Hashem is not going to give us what we want, and he hasn't yet given us what we want, and we have a feeling maybe he's never going to give us what we want, don't return us empty-handed. Don't make us feel as if you didn't even listen. The opportunity to talk to Hashem, even if the best answer is no, and we have to muster up all our emunah bitachon and say, no, okay, thank you. I don't get it, but I'm sure you just saved my life by saying no. I trust you. We're the 3-year-old whose mother says, no, you can't have that candy bar because it's 2 minutes before supper. And the kid's response is, you hate me. The mother says, fine, I hate you. Whatever it is, you're not eating no chocolate. But we're old enough to know that if it's no, it's a good reason. Just make us at least feel that you heard. We can't walk away from the tefillah saying, wow, Hashem heard. Look, I walked out of the tefillah, and here it is. Here's the check just arrived in the mail. I just got the email that gave me the job. I just got a phone call from the hospital. Bubby just turned around, and she's out of her coma, and she's on her way to recover. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen, right? So I just wasted my Shemona Esrei. At least give us the feeling, give us the sense that Kodesh Baruch Hu, give us some kind of a sign somewhere that you heard our tefillos. Don't just turn us away empty-handed as if you didn't listen. Even if you're going to say no, I accept the no. I just don't want to be turned away completely empty-handed as if you didn't even bother to listen to what I said. Because Baruch Hu always listens to what we say, hears what we say, cares about what we say, but we'll say no if that's the best thing for us, because everything Hashem does is for the best, even though we don't see it. So when we say Shema Kolein, and when we put in all our requests, and we ask for what we believe we think we need, and we ask and we ask and we ask, and for 20, 30, 40 years, we may be asking for the same thing because we really, really, really think it would be so good for us, even though as yet Hashem seems to feel it's not, and we can't understand it. But at least don't let us walk away empty-handed. Make us at least feel, give that little sense in our neshama, give us a inner feeling when we finish our Shemona Esrei, that Oiseh Shalom B'Mroimav, V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimru Amen. Let us feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. Let's just end this series with a famous word from Rav Schwab. That's how we end Shemona Esrei. It's a beautiful thought, if you've never heard it, to go through your day. It says Rav Schwab like this. What do we say when we end the davening? Oiseh Shalom B'Mroimav, He HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes peace up in the heavens. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. He should make peace among ourselves. We don't always do it so well ourselves, but Baruch Hu can help us live in peace with all the rest of Klal Yisrael. Right? Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Val Kol Yisrael, make shalom among us, make shalom among Kol Yisrael. The Imru Amen. And may you all say Amen. Who are we talking to? When the Chazan says at the end of a Kaddish, he's talking to the congregation. Amen. And everybody says Amen. You're saying a silent Shemona Esrei. Imru is a command in the plural. You, plural, say Amen. To whom are you giving that command to say Amen to your request? Says Rav Schwab, you know who you're giving it to? You're giving it to the two angels that accompany me through life. Ki malachav yitzav l'shmarcha b'chol drachecha. Ki malachav yitzav l'shmarcha b'chol drachecha. Kadosh Baruch Hu sends two angels to guard you as you go through your day. And they're right next to you, listening to your Shemona Esrei. They know about what's going to be the yes and what's not going to be the yes. The angels that are with you, please say Amen to all my tefillos, including the tefillah that it should never feel that Hashem didn't listen. Even if he has to say no, at least let me feel that he listened. Let me feel his presence as I go through my day. Mirz Hashem. We should all be zach that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will answer all our tefillos. We should be zach that he answers our tefillos and gives us exactly what we do need. And please don't give me what I don't need. And we should always feel his presence and the angels that are with us all the time. And those angels should protect us and everybody out there, all the hostages, all the chayalim, everybody who needs protection. Their angels should please guard them and watch them and make sure that everybody gets back home safe and sound. Thank you very much to all the people who have been following on and listening. Once again, this is our last year, but please go to the OU website and you'll be able to see the times of when the shurim are there in the OU Center, and they all do get recorded and eventually show up online on the website. Yasher Kayach, Hatzlacha to everybody.